Hey guys, welcome to the channel today. This week's catch up on the build. Well, first the catch up on gaming. So we did last Monday, we played Battletech, which was fun. Got to be made fun of because I don't keep my Battletech miniatures in it very well. They're just kind of disorganized, but I've had them since high school, and they are what they are, so I don't really care anymore. So, but that was fun because I got to play a little bit of Battletech, which I haven't done forever. And then worked on the bunker build over the weekend, and then didn't get the video rendered in time, so we had another Monday, and that Monday was week 2 or month 2 of our bolt action campaign, and this time I tied instead of losing, so I'm doing a little bit better, but still working on my American build and figuring them out. I'm having a lot of troubles because my basic infantry are dying too fast. I need to figure out how to keep them alive a little bit longer. And then I spent another day working on texturing the bunker terrain as well. So I just thought I'd just keep filming it and just combine it all together and call it 1 week. So this would be week 4 of the build of actually working on it. So it's been a month's worth of work. Obviously don't work on it every day, but it's coming along very nicely. It's textured well. I'll show you the videos coming of everything I did to texture it, but we had different kinds of texture. We have kitty litter, just straight gravel, coffee ground, sand, all my usual flocking stuff. I actually pretty much ran out. I don't have any left, so that'll be my next thing, is to restock on my flocking supplies. But so I think this next weekend, instead of starting painting, I'm going to work on the bunker itself. I want to add more to the bunker to make it have more of the, in the movie it's all angles and lines. I didn't want it to have too much of that because it is, for the miniature game, I didn't want it to get in the way. But again, it's inspired by, it doesn't have to match it exactly. I really don't care. So otherwise, watch the video. Have a great week of gaming.
Okay, so I'm going to do voiceovers again with this video. I didn't in the last couple of videos because, well, honestly, it was pretty self-explanatory what was going on. I was just basically laying some spackle down to cover up the cracks. So now that the spackle's down, the first thing I'm doing is taking a soft sponge-like sandpaper, and it's not a real high grit, but just smoothing out most of the chunks and finger marks. I did this a couple of times. I didn't film the whole table. I just filmed this one section. I think you pretty much get the idea of what's going on by smoothing. It's not that fancy. But after each time of smoothing, I would take the shop vac out and suck up all the dust, including the dust off of the sponge, just to keep it going a little bit longer. And then this is what it looks like when I've smoothed out most of the edges. A lot of it's going to get covered up by the flocking anyway, so you don't want to remove all the texture that you've done with the plaster, but you can see it definitely gets rid of the cracks and the stuff that's in between. So this is a PVA. I use tacky glue and water mix, and it's not. Probably could have made this one a little bit thinner, but I wanted it a little bit thick since it's got to cover up most, or grip onto most of the stuff we're trying to grab. And then I have a little bit of basalt, and then the basalt just wasn't thick enough, so I got some kitty litter and then filled in the rest of the area with the glue with a gravel mix of just a bunch of extra stuff. And then I realized I really just need to concentrate on the corners right now with the harder stuff, so that's all I'm working on right now, is going through the edges of the hills, putting some glue down on those edges and a little bit of areas around that, a little bit on the tops, things like that, and then doing the same combination of kitty litter first, that's the big chunks, and then the gravel mix after that. The gravel mix has gravel, coffee grounds, sand. After a while, it's going to have the kitty litter in it because as I pick it all up. So it's put this down, wait for the glue to dry, sweep it all back up into the container, move on to another section, rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat. Okay, so for the next part, it's as you can see, all the edges around the hills are done. They're dried. I picked up, I vacuumed up the extra. So now I'm going over with a little bit wider of a brush and doing the main wide areas of the table. This is one of the reasons why you'll see nails down on this foam because I'm trying to keep it from curving up as this glue dries. But I'm just laying down huge sections on the PVA, putting the gravel down, and I wanted around towards the bunker for the ground to be less rocky, more dirt. So I switched from doing the pure gravel mix to coffee grounds. So as you can see in the gravel mix now at this point, that there is definitely kitty litter mixed in with the sand. That's because everything got picked up together. That's fine. It looks good. But that's what's going on now. So you'll see me doing more of a kind of a judgment call as I put the PVA glue down on what texture needs to be into which area. So I put pretty large sections for each tile, set the timer, wait an hour, scoop it all back up, do the next section using the same flocking materials. And this is why I have none left, because I pretty much did it all trying to get all this done. On top of the hills, for the most part, I did the same just gravel material. I didn't do too much of the dirt. So the coffee ground, aka dirt, is more towards the bunker and then above the bunker. So that's supposed to be the area where the most foot traffic has been, so the ground is going to be a little bit smoother. It was the idea in my head, at least. Hopefully it'll come out pretty good. Directly in front of the bunker, when you get to that part, I used a sand, just a pure fine sand. So it basically turns it into sandpaper. It doesn't really hold the texture really well, but it still looks different than just flat, smooth from the foam core board. There are some sections after I clean it up where it is still just the pure foam core board or foam or plaster. That's all fine because the idea here is to put as many different textures as you can so that it doesn't look uniform. It looks different. It looks more natural. That's the kind of the goal. And you really can't go wrong too much here if you're doing this yourself on your own terrain. The main idea is just put texture down, get as much texture down as you can. And then after this is all done, because that basically the rest of this video is just me doing this to different sections, which is great. But after it was all done, I got even more watered down PVA and would use a spray bottle of water, spray the table, and then use the brush to kind of glue and let the glue flow into those areas as a sealant. I did not film that, but the pictures at the end is after that sealant has dried, and it looks pretty good. So I'm almost at the point where I'm ready to separate these tiles. The corners of the tiles as it was drying definitely did start to pull up in a couple areas, so I added some more nails to bring it down. Hopefully when I pull the nails, everything will stay relatively smooth. It's what I could do. This is why I don't like doing a lot of tiled stuff, is because I'm always afraid nothing will line up when it's done. But for storage purposes, you have to do what you have to do. So this is not a display board. This is a gaming table, so it's gonna get beat up later in its life anyway. So otherwise, I'll let you guys finish out the video. Again, have a great week of gaming. Have a great week.